And then, let me think about what left the deepest impression on me. With this piece, I can truly experience all the different interpretations that various conductors have of this work. First, let me mention a few that I really enjoyed, these collaborations. Of course, right off the bat, there's Eschenbach, because back then, the performance where I subbed in with the Chicago Symphony, Eschenbach was conducting this piece. When I was studying this piece with Grafman, in some parts, rhythmically speaking, I was a bit restrained. In certain places, Grafman's point was that you shouldn't make too many rhythmic changes. But when collaborating with Eschenbach, he'd say, you need to breathe, you have to breathe, you must dare to use rubatos. He was the first conductor who allowed me to completely, immerse myself in a very comfortable space, Some of those rubatos back then were actually quite interesting. I remember I just played a short passage, this one. He said, you absolutely must have this kind of rubato. Especially this part. Watch. I asked, can I really do such a big ritardando? He said, no problem. I'll support you. The orchestra will stay right with you. So at that time I thought, wow, I can actually play it like this. And then another version that I particularly like is the one with Zubin Mehta. With Zubin Mehta, at that time, he made several passages extremely romantic. In the third movement, for example, that orchestra part. I felt like the whole Hollywood vibe was coming through. Back then, I thought I can actually do this kind of extreme romance. Later, when I was playing, I was also trying to match that vibrato, that string vibrato. Oh, that really made me feel like the Hollywood sound was coming out. Of course, it was with the LA feel, so their playing was very distinctive. And then it also made me feel that very German style of this Tchaikovsky, which was with Barenboim for the recording on my first DG album, also with the Chicago Symphony. Barenboim's version is actually quite rigorous. It's almost more like a ballet, He even manages to bring out some very symphonic elements, and it's just incredibly delicate. I mean, his touch and the sound, sometimes you'd almost think it's become Beethoven, that kind of exquisite detail. And that kind of extreme, almost obsessive pursuit of rhythm. Like a triplet must be a triplet. Right, it's that extreme. And then this. It's just so incredibly clear, every single layer. It almost has a Bach-like quality, that sense of layering. Yeah, his Tchaikovsky 1 feels like that. Simon Rattle's Tchaikovsky 1 is another style, also quite rational, actually very rational. The most sentimental ones are Tamerkanov, along with Tamerkanov. And Jensens has also conducted this. It's indeed quite different. Their way of using vibrato is really something. They truly take that Russian grand vibrato and make it so satisfying. It's like giving you a huge piece of cheese to eat. You'll definitely get your fill of this cheese. I wouldn't say it's too much, but you'll definitely be full. That lush vibrato is just so satisfying. Especially the sound of Russian orchestras. It's really interesting when it comes out. Actually, as soon as they start, that first pressed out note is just full of that great romanticism kind of sound. Right. And they don't use batons, just their hands, One sweep, very dashing. The phrasing is also beautiful, and it all carries a sense of pathos. These great Russian conductors all play with a kind of pathos in their performance.